Tonight, it's the NFL Draft, setting the stage for the Jaguars to go on the prowl in 2024. The team, hoping for a rebound after a season that seemed destined for greatness, turned into disappointment in the home stretch.
Yeah, that hurt for sure, and I think it will fuel us. Everybody's committed to doing things right this time around.
Will the Jaguars pick up a new receiver for quarterback Trevor Lawrence? Or will they land a new player for the defensive side of the ball?
Just got to look at the board and let the board speak.
And stars from the local high school gridiron are waiting to hear their names called to play in the pros. Tonight, the Teal and Black faithful are waiting for the big moment. Live from Channel 4, the local station. This is News4Jags Draft 24 on News4Jags Plus.
Welcome to our News4Jags Draft 24 Plus special. You're looking at it live from Detroit, where the NFL Draft is getting ready to start. It is time for the first team to be on the clock, the Chicago Bears. Probably a tough decision. We've got all of us here. We're here in Jacksonville, and we've got a busy, packed crowd here at the bank. I like to think our crowd might be a little bit better than that one in Detroit.
I agree. You know why? Because they're ours, and we are having a great time here live at the Everbank Stadium. Alessandra, you've been on the field all night. You were with the fans. What was the energy like down there?
It was so fun. Everyone is so eagerly waiting to see who the Jaguars will draft with the 17th overall pick. Maybe they'll trade up, maybe they'll trade down. No one knows except for the Jaguars war room, which is just next to us. But you know what? I kind of like our little war room right here.
I'm loving this. The fans are all around. Everyone's waving. Everyone's excited because that countdown clock is imminent.
We're closing in. It's officially 8 o'clock, so the Jaguars are at 17. If they stay put, it's probably going to be like 9:50 before they get on the clock. But fans have plenty of stuff to keep them busy here. Take a look at that full first-round draft order, because there's some teams before and after the Jaguars, and maybe some teams that the Jaguars could even get on the phone with to try and move up ahead to get a player.
Absolutely, and Diana Rossini from The Athletic, she did tweet out about 2 hours ago that the Jaguars are shopping around just 2 hours ago, looking to see if they could trade up for a pass catcher for Trevor Lawrence. Now, of course, that is just reports from her. But maybe, like I said, we may see the Jaguars drafting a little earlier than 17, Jenna.
I mean, Demetrius said, where there's smoke, there might be fire. Hey, and that might be a phone ringing, so I guess we'll see together.
And you know what? One person that knows about shopping, Jana, she can definitely swipe a card. So, look, get on the phone, get to shopping the picks. The Jaguars have a few that they can work with. Take a look at all the picks the Jaguars have this year. So they have 8 picks over the 3 days of the NFL Draft. The first one in the first round's at 17, and then the second one in the second round and third round, that'll be tomorrow, are at 48 and 96, and then day 3 is kind of your marathon. You go round 4 through round 7. Round 4 starts at 114. Round 7, they wrap up at 236, and all of this is assuming that they stay put right where they're at and don't make any moves. But I would assume that they will not make every pick on that board because, as Jana knows, they like to shop for a sale, right? And they'll find one somewhere.
Listen, we do. So I'm excited to hear what you two think. How do you think your mock-ups are comparing to what's currently on sale? You guys have been going through this. Justin as well. I know he's not with us here tonight, but this has been creeping around the newsroom, seeing how everyone landed. How are you guys feeling about your choices now that draft night has hit? Boss?
Look, here's the thing. When you try and figure out what the Jaguars are going to do, you got to put yourself in that Trent Baalke kind of mode. You got to think, let the board speak to you. So, Baalke breakdown, and we'll put ourselves in kind of Trent Baalke's shoes in his seat for a moment, and this is kind of gives you an idea of some of the things that Trent Baalke has done and likes in his career. Take a look at this. So Trent Baalke is a busy guy. He's been an NFL general manager for a while, and he's made quite a few picks, and there is a type that Trent Baalke has. So he's made 90 draft picks from 53 different colleges, 15 conferences, and he likes to draft guys from Clemson and South Carolina.
Boom.
So that kind of leads me to where my guy that I've been mocking to the Jaguars, a Clemson guy, which would get that number to number 6, Nate Wiggins. He fits.
All right, now I had something to say about Wiggins because here's the concerns I've been hearing. and I can't have it. Everyone's worried about him being underweight. And listen, if you're a Clemson boy, the casserole queen should have already shown up by now and fixed that. You just let me know what his fighting weight needs to be. I guarantee you a couple Carolina girls will get it there. Not me. I only make reservations, but I'll find somebody.
Well, what he lacks in weight, he makes up with in speed. 4.28 40-yard dash in the combine. That is very, very fast, and that is what is going to be on the top of everyone's draft profile for Nate Wiggins. He is very good, but I do not think that they're going to draft him. Milwaukee has drafted the conferences with the most drafts are from the SEC, and I'm going with Alabama's Terrion Arnold, another cornerback. I really like Terrion. I think he fits Ryan Nielsen's defense. I think he's going to be on the board at 17. Hopefully, if he is, I think the Jaguars will draft him. Now, maybe they go with the wide receiver. Okay, that's fine. But I really think the corner is what the Jaguars need to draft for. It's an immediate need for the Jaguars, and I think that Nate Wiggins is very good too, but I think Terrion will fit them the best.
And that's one of the things that Trent Baalke kind of alluded to in his pre-draft press conference. He said that he was going to let the board speak to him, and that sitting at 17, you got to wait to see who's going to be available. And that's kind of the balance, because once you get there, you have to pick between need and best player available.
Yeah, that was a big thing that he kept talking about is need versus want.
You try to find the best players. That's what you try to do in the draft. We have some needs, obviously, that we need to address. The board's got to fall the right way. Needs are paramount, but we're going to stick with our formula and draft the best players available.
Okay.
All right, so Trent Baalke told you there's a balance between needs and best player available, and I think the need for this team is at cornerback. I think everybody can agree with that. But our viewers that spoke in our You Say poll on TV on Channel 4 earlier said they want a wide receiver.
Yeah, and that poll really started to creep up all throughout the morning show.
Yeah, and you're going to want a wide receiver. You want the flashy guy. You want the one that you're going to hear his name called every time Trevor Lawrence passes to him. You want the one that gets into the end zone and scores points for the Jaguars. But you also want to limit touchdowns against the Jaguars, and a corner will help you with that. So, yes, I understand why a lot of people want the wide receiver. It's flashy. They just had Calvin Ridley go to the tight ends. They're rivals. You want someone that can mirror Calvin Ridley here. But you do need to also think about that defense, and Ryan Nielsen needs a corner.
The surprising thing was normally people aren't excited for an offensive line pick, but right behind wide receiver was offensive line. Normally the big guys aren't the flashy picks, so they don't get as much love from the fan group, but right behind wide receiver was offensive line. I have a feeling that a lot of our viewers were voting with Trevor Lawrence in mind.
Right, I think so too. I mean, you remember our first draft show together. I just said, listen, I want my QB to be a little bit cleaner. He had a lot of grass stains on him this year. I just want to see us protect him. And I think we saw last year how important depth also is. So not just filling those positions, but make sure that we feel sturdy should another season happen like that.
All right, so we've talked about some of the needs. You've spoken to us about what you think. We had to catch up with News4Jags sports analyst Frank Frangie, who agrees that the Jaguars need a cornerback, and he actually agrees with Alessandra about the player that he thinks the Jaguars are going to pick at 17.
Nobody knows what the Jags are doing at 17. None of us know. But I will tell you this. I think they've got a good football team. I think when you have a good football team, it's not as much about value as it is filling some holes. If there's a hole at all, I think it's depth at corner and depth at wide receiver. So I do think Terrion Arnold's going to be there. A lot of people don't, so that would be my pick. I would be a little bit surprised if it's not one of the three spots. Cornerback, wide receiver, or edge. I don't think it's an offensive lineman. I don't think it's an interior defensive lineman. I think it's one of those three spots. I'd be tempted if Jared Verse is there, but my guess is they go cornerback, and my guess is if Terrion Arnold's there, he'd be the player.
You heard it from the man himself. Frank Frangie has spoken. He thinks it's Terrion Arnold. He thinks cornerback's the pick. We're going to see. I don't not like Terrion Arnold. I just think he's going to go before the Jaguars get on the clock. That's there's two corners that are almost the consensus top players in this draft at cornerback. Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo, who would also be a fantastic fit. He's from like 20 miles outside of Gainesville, so bring the kid back to Florida, bring the Florida boy home, right? And then there's Terrion Arnold. And there are a lot of teams that are cornerback needy because this is a passing league, and cornerbacks are the guys that stop those big passing plays. The question is, do 16 other teams pass on both of those guys?
I don't know. I mean, I think when you have options that great, what do you think? I think that somebody's going to snap him up.
Yeah, well, you have to look at the AFC South. They have a ton of very good receivers now. It's a loaded division for receivers. So corner is going to be something that a lot of the teams want. The Colts are just above the Jaguars. They also need a corner. There's another cornerback that some people are talking about, Cooper DeJean from Iowa. I definitely butchered that last night. He's very versatile. They say that he can either be a corner, maybe outside nickel, but he also can fill in as a safety. Very versatile, like I said. Of course, the Jaguars don't really need a safety. They need the corner. But that versatility, he's very good at Iowa. He was a star in the Big Ten. And hopefully, maybe that is another corner that the Jaguars could look for. I don't think he's at the top. It would be Terrion or it would be Nate, because like you said, Mitchell's going to be gone. But that is another corner that the Jaguars could look at as well.
You nailed the last name for what it's worth. You nailed it.
Thank you. Period.
That's
I think
it.
you crushed it.
I'm done for the day.
Absolutely
You're like, I'm
crushed it. All right, so Cooper DeJean's not on our USA poll. He's not one of the players we were asking about, but we want to know what player you think the Jaguars should draft at 17. Take a look. Here's the question. We want you to go vote right now. So, who should the Jaguars draft at number 17? You can scan that QR code, go to news4jags.com/USA, and cast your vote, because we want to know who you think name should be called and on that nifty first-round pick jersey when it all gets printed up.
Exactly. I know we've got QR codes for that as well that you can get customized from the Fanatics Pro Shop. So many opportunities to support, get swagged out for the season happening here tonight.
Yep, and we've got a handful of players. Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, Brian Thomas Jr. We put an other in there, so if you like Cooper DeJean, you can click that other one. We'll see what you think over the course of the next hour here on News4Jags Plus. We'll be right back. We're going to see when the Bears go on the clock. They're going on the clock right now, so we'll be checking in with the draft over the course of the next hour. Stay tuned. We still got plenty more draft coverage as we continue to count down until the Jaguars are on the clock. Welcome back into our News4Jags Draft 24 special. The Chicago Bears are officially on the clock. They're expected to take Caleb Williams. And you know what? Caleb Williams knows a thing or two about Jacksonville since he's been preparing for the draft in our area. He went to the Players' Championship. Alessandra got a chance to catch up with him there at TPC Sawgrass. And he has been training to get ready for the NFL career right here in everyone's backyard. They kept it kind of quiet, but Caleb Williams has been hanging out here perfecting his throwing motions to see if he can throw some touchdowns in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Caleb Williams is probably going to be the number one draft pick. Everyone would be shocked around the country if it wasn't Caleb Williams. He is extremely effective pocket passer. Very rare escapability. This guy can scramble. On top of that, high-impact player. He can exploit defenses. Everything that you want to look for in an NFL quarterback, Caleb Williams has. And on top of that, when I met him at TPC Sawgrass, he is so kind. He is so friendly. And he learned right here in Jacksonville. So how do you not love him?
I know you got to pull for him, and I love that you mentioned just his personality because, like you said, especially when you're going into the combine, like everyone looks great in a t-shirt, people are performing well, but you want to know the person because the Jags have really been working on their culture, especially with Doug at the helm the past couple of seasons, and we want to see players continue like that. So I'm hoping we get the same kind of energy when our pick rolls around.
All right, so one of the guys that's been training with Caleb Williams here is Austin Reed. He played high school football at St. Augustine. He's hoping to hear his name called at some point in the draft. Of course, we love to support our local high school athletes as they go to the next level, right? Austin Reed, not the only player that played high school ball right in everyone's backyard, hoping to hear his name called. Kingsley Guacan played for the Florida Gators, went to Sandalwood High School. Now he's draft eligible. Jalen Simpson, Frederica Academy, went to Auburn. I know Alessandro's not going to like that, but he's hoping to hear his name called. Carter Bradley, a Providence guy, went to South Alabama. That's Gus Bradley's son. Kenny Logan, Kansas, went to high school at Menendez. And David White went to Western Carolina, went to high school at Westside. So Kenny Logan's is one of the interesting one we're going to spotlight right here. Kenny got the chance to talk with Alessandro as he prepared for the NFL draft. He's hoping to hear his name called at some point. Seems like a really nice guy when you got a chance to catch up with him as he was working out.
Absolutely. So down to earth. You never know how these athletes are going to be. They're about to get huge paydays. They're going to be NFL stars. Kenny Logan was the kindest person. And the one thing that I loved about him and during his special, which you're about to see his story, is that he shouts out not just Menendez, where he was a star, but also St. Augustine, where he grew up and where he started his football career.
It's kind of nerve-wracking to know that everything I worked for so long is kind of like right here in front of my face. So
any football player dreams of hearing their name announced during the NFL draft. But not just anyone has the opportunity to be considered a potential draft pick. This year, one name on teams' draft boards is former Menendez star Kenny Logan.
To know that this is the moment that you've been dreaming of your entire life and it's finally here, what is that like?
I mean, it's a feeling like no other. Just to know that everything you did, everything you have done so far is finally getting ready to pay off.
This past season, Logan finished his 5-year career as a starting safety at Kansas.
Early on, it was definitely tough because I never lost that many games before in my life. So just being able to grow from the 0-12, the 0-9 games, and this being able to say I had a fingerprint on the turnaround.
Logan transferred to Menendez his sophomore year after playing for St. Augustine as a freshman.
I mean, that's when my career took off after my sophomore, junior year. So just being able to be at these two places, I mean, that's why I am who I am today.
He's continuing the tradition of local guys continuing their careers at the highest level.
It's exciting to see for St. Johns County, St. Augustine, because not really too many people make it out of here. So just being able to have that chance, it's a feeling like no other. Just to know that I'm a small town kid who did it.
It's up to fate to decide where Logan will be drafted. But if he had the opportunity to stay home and play for the hometown Jaguars.
I mean, that'll definitely be exciting just to be able to stay home. But I'm ready for whatever comes, and I'm excited for whatever comes.
The one thing Logan has in common with all of this year's potential draft picks, they never quit.
Believe in yourself, believe in your dream, and put your best foot forward and go attack it. I mean, never let nobody tell you can't. And if you feel like you can do it, go do it.
I'm also to Pomfrey on Channel 4, the local station.
How can you not want to support the hometown guy who's trying to make it to the NFL? Look at all the fans hanging out here at Everbank Stadium. It has been a fun night. The first pick is in. The Chicago Bears have officially submitted the pick. We still got a long wait until the Jaguars are on the clock.
Yeah, but Alessandro, how is that getting to spend time with him? Like you said, you've gotten to talk to so many players that are facing NFL draft right now. What do you think they're feeling right now?
Well, I asked Foye what it was like when he got the call that he was going to be drafted by the Falcons late in I think it was the third day he got drafted. They're very nervous. Now, Caleb Williams probably knows where he's going. He probably already got the call from the Bears that he knows. But there's a lot of guys in Detroit, maybe some guys at home. They're nervous. They don't know what it's going to feel like when they pick up the call. They don't know who's going to be on the other line. But also, you have to think about some of these players. You played college football, so you kind of know what it's like. They have worked their entire lives. These kids are 19, 20, 21. Some of them are 24. And they are finally getting their dreams to come true. Everyone wants to be an athlete when they grow up. No one really gets to be an athlete except for like 1% of people. And these guys, their dreams will come true. They'll get a big payday, but they'll also get their dreams to come true. And you got to love that. And you got to just rally around these kids. And you're just so appreciative for these kids, too.
Look, it is a fantastic opportunity. I did play football. I was nowhere near good enough to hear my name called during this. I always tell my mom I'm a little petty. I pointed at a TV when I was a kid at an NFL game and said, I want to do that. And she said, you were too small. So I kept playing football through college. And now I joke that I was pointing at the broadcaster, so I am doing what I was supposed to be doing. That's what I was saying, Mom. I was saying I was going to be on the desk in the booth, and here we are. So look at that. It happened. I got the call from Channel 4, and that was the call we wanted.
Yeah. The only thing you didn't get was the big payday, right? Because we work in news and not in NFL.
Hey, look.
Like,
Speaking of guys that got some big paydays, Foye Aluakin told you earlier that with his first draft, his first payday, he bought some Skittles. So not necessarily the big payday he was hoping for. Ross Madison said he only ended up with a couple $100. So, again, not the big payday for all of them. But some guys that got the big paydays from the Jaguars this offseason because the Jaguars were busy during free agency, and they were making it rain on some guys. Look at all these new faces that are going to be on the Jaguars field this coming season. Mac Jones is going to be a local guy that's coming back. They traded for him. They also added Mitch Morris, the center, Devin Duvernay, a wide receiver, Gabe Davis, Ronald Darby, Eric Armstead, just to name a few of those. So now the Jaguars are busy during free agency, and they're asking themselves, all right, we got 8 draft picks when the draft rolls around. Who are we going to pick? So here's a look at some of those top options for the Jaguars, or at least expected if they stay at 17. These are some of the top guys in this year's draft, and we listened to you. So you said you wanted a wide receiver or an offensive lineman. We got 2 on the board here. Brian Thomas Jr., who's expected to be available at 17. Talise Fuaga, a big offensive lineman. You said you wanted those. Now, the rest of these may not tickle your fancy if you were one of those ones that voted for our offensive line or wide receiver, but cornerback is a need. So we got 4 corners on the board since we just go ahead and lump those Alabama corners together because we're all up in the Kool-Aid and we know the flavor. So
it is crimson and it is good.
I was going to say, I was like, how's the Alessandro sip going over here with the Kool-Aid?
I'm doing great, but you know what? Caleb Williams, like we all predicted, is going to be a Chicago Bear.
No surprise there. If the Jaguars do draft one of those Alabama corners, I'm sure at some point Alessandro will drop a Bama blitz there for us.
Blitz, but no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to embarrass myself. My mom and dad are watching. I'm not going to do it.
But we will keep an eye on what the Jaguars do as we get closer to 17. A lot of options that they should be able to work with. We want to know what you think they should do. So we're asking you to vote in our You Say poll. You can head over to news4jax.com/You Say. You can open up that News4Jax app. You can scan the QR code that's about to pop up on your screen and vote. Whose name would you call if you had the choice to make the pick at 17? Would you call Terrion Arnold, Quinyon Mitchell, Brian Thomas Jr., trade up for Roma Dunze maybe? Or would you go with the other? Right now, everybody's going with the Bama guy. 60% say Terrion Arnold's your guy.
You know, guys, thank you. We're in it together.
I knew this was going to happen, so it was a Pomprion prediction.
The Pomprion prediction. I like that.
It's ours, copyright.
That's it. Done. It is perfect. So a lot of people like the Terrion Arnold. We'll see if that ultimately adds up. We're going to be keeping an eye on the NFL draft as things progress through. Right now, the Bears are submitting that pick, making Caleb Williams the #1 overall selection. And then
Commanders
are on the clock. We're going to see those Detroit folks are very excited, very busy. It is packed there. Tons of fans are watching, but you know what? Here in Jacksonville, there are a ton of fans watching, too. And if you're at home tuning in, we've still got plenty more Jaguars coverage coming your way. That's straight ahead right after this quick break. Tick, 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 tick. The draft clock rolls on. Officially, the number 2 team is on the clock, the Washington Commanders. What are they going to do? Probably a quarterback, unless they decide to do something wacky that nobody sees coming. But that is good for the Jaguars. The more quarterbacks that go in this draft, you know what? The better, because the Jaguars have a quarterback that can hair flip that everybody feels pretty good about. So that opens up some options to slide to them at 17.
That's right. Where do you think we're going next?
I don't know. I mean, do you think the Commanders?
Yeah.
Oh, the Commander. Well, the pick is in for the Commanders. Now, I was saying Drake May was going to be drafted by the Commanders in our mock draft, but I'm changing it up.
Jaden Daniels.
It's going to be Jaden Daniels.
Adam Schefter has tweeted it out. Jaden Daniels is the guy. Our producer, Kevin Talley, he's down on the field right now. He is a diehard Commanders fan, and he is a diehard North Carolina fan. And he made it very clear to me leading up that he did not want Drake May to be the quarterback of his team a second time. He wanted Jaden Daniels. You know what? Kevin got his wish. Kevin is counting down to retirement, so we're definitely going to miss Kevin when football season rolls around, but I'm sure he'll enjoy getting a chance to watch a little bit more football. So, the Jaguars. Kevin has been here since the Jaguars got here, so he has seen every Jaguars draft class. I haven't seen all of them, you haven't seen all of them, you haven't seen all of them, but the Jaguars have been busy over the years, and some of those draft classes have maybe been a little depressing. So let's look through some of the Jaguars draft history. So some of the top positions that you want this year are cornerback, offensive line, and receiver. Here's the wide receivers the Jaguars have taken in the first round. R.J. Soward, Reggie Williams, Matt Jones, and Justin Blackmon. I know there's someone at home who just put their head in their palms and they're having nightmare flashbacks from reminding themselves of a couple of these guys out on the field, because none of them were exactly spectacular. They left something to be desired. What can you say? Look, call them like you see them. So a little bit of a nightmare, not the dream scenario. But a lot of people want a wide receiver this year. That's what the people are saying.
Maybe you can right your wrongs, Jaguars.
Take another swing at the bat.
Yeah.
Keep taking those swings. All right. So how about cornerback? That's the position that we all think the Jaguars are going to go in the first round. So here are the cornerbacks the Jaguars have spent that first-round pick on. Fernando Bryant, who was a solid NFL player. Jalen Ramsey, who is a spectacular player, probably a future football Hall of Famer, but his Jaguar section of his career maybe came to a little bit of a my back hurts already just talking about it kind of end. I think his back just tightened up thinking about the Jaguars in a Jaguars jersey. And then there's C.J. Henderson, who did not pan out for a ninth pick in the draft. So Jaguars also had a little bit of rough history at cornerback. But, again, maybe more swings at the bat or picks in the bucket can help you out. Eventually you got to hit one, right?
Right. It's a volume game. It's the at-bats. It's the at-bats here at the football stadium.
That's it. We're just go with the volume approach. So, offensive line. That was the second place in our USAFE poll during our TV special. Here's a look at those offensive linemen for the first round. Tony Baselli, I think we can all agree that one worked out. And then Eugene Monroe, he worked out-ish. Luke Jokel, not so much. And Anton Harrison, he is still fresh, but he had a good rookie season. I don't know, if you follow him on Twitter, you see some of his food takes, and some of those are questionable. So if you're doing the Madden ratings, maybe we lower the awareness there a little bit. But he said sugar and grits, which I am categorically against.
I've never heard of that before.
Hard no for me.
It is a hard no, but he did say he likes his cookies boneless. So, as in soft, barely baked. Boneless. They need to be gushy, ooey gooey. I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
So we kind of balanced, but he has had quite the few food takes. So Chef Anton has definitely been setting social media on a fire with his food takes. If some of those food takes have anything to do with football, I am worried for his second season.
Jamal's Twitter feed's always really exciting, and I feel like that's how I keep up. And when I got a retweet about a boneless cookie, I was like, I'm sorry, excuse me, you almost lost me with sugar on the grits. The Southern girl was about to just
ready to go.
I was out.
We can't do that. It is unacceptable. It's salt and butter. That's what we do.
And cheese.
I'm good with cheese too. We can go there.
Cheese, bacon bits. Am I making a baked potato or grits? I don't know. I know you're from New York. I'll make them for you.
It's all good.
Can you tell? I'm like, there is nothing going on. I'm thinking about Anton Harrison's rookie season and how well he did. Remember, there have been so many issues with the offensive line this past season, but the one consistency was Anton Harrison. So, Jaguars fans, I know you want an offensive lineman, but you have a really good right tackle right now, Anton Harrison. We'll see. Mitch Morse just came in. So hopefully there could be some consistency inside on the offensive line, because God knows we all need that.
And you know, Anton was really good at left tackle in college, so maybe one day he slides over to that left side. Now, one thing that we do think the Jaguars need is maybe a kicker, because last year's kicker, Brandon McManus, has gone off to greener pastures, found a new team. They've brought in a couple of kickers, but maybe Jana could be the Jaguars' new kicker. Maybe?
Listen, I'm going to need to stretch first, but I gave it the full Channel 4 try. So I actually got to go to see a preview of the NFL Alumni Association. They put on a clinic and a camp every year that's open to parents and kiddos. Great organization, all Jaguars that are local, giving back, making sure that they can share skills, share their knowledge. And guess who just so happened to be my kicking coach? We had Mike Hollis.
Jaguars legend.
Let's just say one of us showed up in shoes and one of us didn't. So I'm going to let you take a look at how my training day went for my combine.
We are gearing up for one of the biggest weeks in the NFL. And as football and cheer athletes prepare for a brand new season on the field, many might wonder, how does this journey even start? Well, the NFL Alumni Association brings together greats of the game and the glory to inspire the next generation. This clinic is hosted by former NFL players, cheerleaders, and coaches, all sharing their knowledge of the game and guidance to make it to the top.
The only way these kids learn is being able to relate to people that they want to relate to. And by some of the younger players that will come here and talk to these kids and tell them that, you know, you're striving, we're all striving to be number one, and you have to work hard for number one, okay? And it's okay. The lessons that you learn in losing and trying and striving, you know, is sticking to your belief and never giving up, and character building, the core values that you have and that you will learn here, that these players that will come here and some of us that give knowledge to them, it isn't just the drills that we will do. We will be talking to them, that it's okay to talk about certain things. It's okay to lose on occasions because you will win through pain. If it doesn't kill you, it does make you stronger.
Amen to that.
You got that right.
Now that we've got the motivational speech from Coach Ingram, let's move on to the Palms portion with former Jags cheerleader Melissa Klipp.
How do you teach the kids that confidence that you need to go out there and dance and cheer, even when the score might not be what you're hoping that it is?
This is true, yes. It is high energy. It takes a lot of character. So you have to work on your character first. And with that comes the determination, and that can help fuel all the energy. We're going to teach them a fun hip-hop dance. It will incorporate dancing and cheerleading techniques, and we will work on skills, dancing skills, and cheerleading skills.
To round out our sneak peek of this NFL Alumni Clinic, I had to kick it up a notch with one more pro.
You know that someone's a pro when they show up to a football field barefoot? Mine's bigger than yours? Wait a minute.
Probably. I mean,
So I should have more surface area to kick. I should be doing better than I'm doing.
that's probably the reason why I'm a kicker, is because I don't have that height and size, you know? That's the only thing I could do.
We each got something going for us. So talk to me about some of the keys that you've been coaching me through that everybody else is going to get a really great inside look at if they come to this camp with their kiddos.
Well, I really like to focus on watching the kids kick and see what they're doing naturally, and that's one of the things that I take them away from a lot of natural movement they're going to make, but it's not in a bad way, it's actually in a good thing. And so in a good way, what I'm really doing is making things easier to repeat. Easier motions are easy to repeat, and the basic foundation of being a good kicker is consistency. So you want to do things that are easy to do over and over and over again.
Now, River City Live, if I went from this to this in one interview, you know your kids will love this clinic. The 2024 attendees will play and perform on the brand new field at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, a space created to promote camaraderie on and off the field.
We're trying to build strong minds and good hearts, and that comes with academics, that comes with having the athletic opportunities, as well as just that social, emotional connection with. Like, the NFL alumni has actually been on our campus several times to read to our kids, to speak with them about just what it's like from their experience and how they can take their experiences and move on with and embed that in their life going forward.
After all that work, I'm going to go find an ice bath and an ibuprofen. But you can find out more about the 2024 NFL Alumni Clinic so your family can train with the pros this summer at givebutter.com/NFL Jags.
Kicking barefoot.
He is a bad man. He is a Jaguars legend of a kicker for a reason. Jan, I think that kick went through, so you made a lot of progress over the course of one story. I was telling her during the story, apparently I can be a kicker coach at least a little bit. I think her stride is a little too long. She was too close to the ball. She had to back up a little bit or measure her steps for her lead up a little bit different.
I know. Now that you mentioned that, I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I just didn't have enough in terms of my running. What was crazy was when he said, you keep moving to the side, and then he put himself by the ball and said, all right, now just run past me and don't hit me. No one's ever hit me. And I've
Did
got
you hit him?
I didn't.
No,
I
okay,
didn't.
good.
I can't break the, former Jags player. I mean, that they'll never let me do a package here again. So I went past him, but it was amazing how learning from such a pro and making those small adjustments, it goes against some of your body chemistry. Yeah. But he was a phenomenal coach. And also Melissa giving me those 2 8 counts. I was like, these road cheerleaders, they're going to.
She was working the shoulders.
I'm in for you in next audition season. So I'm ready. You're at 2 8 counts under my belt. It's over.
You're not allowed to leave Channel 4. You're not allowed to go and be a Jaguars cheerleader and leave us. I'm not having it. So, okay, we want to know what you guys think. The Jaguars aren't on the clock yet, but another pick has come in. Drake May is the pick for the New England Patriots. So the Patriots have a brand new quarterback. We want to know what you think the Jaguars should have a brand new of whenever they make their pick. They have a few options. Right now, Terrion Arnold is leading, and it is not a close margin. You can scan that QR code to cast your vote, or you can head over to News4Jags.com/YouSay or open up your News4Jags app, and you can vote in our poll. Right now, Terrion Arnold's got 52% of the vote. The people are speaking, but this is so strange because earlier, all the people said they wanted a wide receiver.
Where'd you go?
What happened?
People!
What's going on?
People.
It was wide receiver and offensive line earlier, and now it's corner.
They heard Frank Frangie say Terrion Arnold, okay? That's 100% it, and that's 100% why I picked him too. Duh.
They're just rolling with the tide. All right, and the News4Jags Draft Special Plus is going to keep on rolling on. We are live here at Everbank Stadium. We are getting closer and closer to that Jaguars pick. We still got plenty more Jaguar-centric content coming your way that you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. Stick around. We still got plenty more ahead. That's straight ahead, right after this quick break.
Savage.
All right, the Chargers are officially on the clock. The draft is moving right along. The Arizona Cardinals just turned in their pick. Marvin Harrison Jr. was the guy. No surprises there. So far, this draft has gone very smoothly, just how everybody is expecting. Now, the question is, does Jim Harbaugh, who is back in the NFL as the Chargers' new head coach, throw everything out of whack and draft somebody that maybe nobody sees coming? Maybe one of his Michigan guys.
Ooh.
It could be. You've heard Jim Harbaugh said that he loves offensive linemen. He likes guys with the big rears.
And so do we.
Of course.
All right. Well, big rears is a thing in football, I suppose.
We have
that
our
can
own
help
draft.
people.
We have our own draft going.
They have
right?
their
All the
own
single ladies out there. We got your backs.
Own special draft board, a different way of evaluating some of the players. One guy that is hanging out with some of the fans here at the bank who are packing in is Eric Avenier. He was in the locker room earlier. He is still inside the stadium, and he is down on the field now. It looks like he's near the combine. Eric, are the fans seeing if they're draft ready?
I tell you, man, the fans are having a really good time out here, especially here in the combine area. This is a section of the field where fans get to have that experience of what it's like to be in an NFL combine. Take a look at this. I mean, you've got fans get the chance to kick the ball, to make a field goal. They get to go through drills to see if this guy can make. Oh, that was a bear. Now, brother, I got to come over and ask you, man, what was that? That was on live TV, man.
It was? Oh, wow.
What was that?
You know, I'm playing soccer, so I'm thinking it's a soccer ball, right? I ain't never kicked before. You know, it's real different. Like, oh, man.
I feel you on that one. I feel you. All right, good one, man. Yeah. So we've been seeing a lot of that, and I feel so bad for the guy who's right here, who's managing all this, because I have seen this guy get kicked with the ball. I mean, the ball go flying right into him. So it's a little dangerous over here. We're going to go walk down this way a little bit over here. You can see that there is a line of folks who all want to do this. I mean, they all want to try this. Hey, is it all right if I talk with them? How exciting is this?
It's pretty good. Bro, we is turning up right now, especially the football players out there. It's just, we turning up now.
What about you?
Good. Like we like ETN, Matistic.
Yeah, Travis Etienne is talking right now on the stage. You see him?
Yes.
As you can see, even the little kids are having fun out here. Take a look at this. Like, they're getting to do some drills over here. I wish I could do some of this stuff because I know our producers back at home would love to see me kick a field goal to do some of this. But as you can see, I got one of these right here, and I don't think that my orthopedic surgeon would be into that. So I'd get one of those phone calls in the morning. But again, we're just having a lot of fun out here. You can hear people chanting Duval. You hear that? The chants of Duval. And like I said, it's just a really fun night. We're waiting for that 17th pick. Let me see, where are they at right now? I'm not sure where they're at right now, but I know we're waiting for that 17th pick. And you better believe this place is going to get really, really loud when they make that pick. Of course, we're going to be here. We're going to carry it live, reporting live. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Eric. Look, it is getting exciting in here. You know, the fans here at Everbank Stadium got really excited when they unveiled the 30th anniversary logo. We were able to carry that to you live over on Channel 4. It took a little tap dancing because maybe it was a little later than we expected, but we got there, and it is a fantastic logo that I know a lot of people are excited about. Fans have been chomping at the bit. You've had 30 years of Jaguars football that has been exciting, and there is a look at that logo, the big 30, the big 3-0 right there in the middle.
It was so exciting to see everyone's reaction. There's been a lot of build-up to this logo. Like you said, fans got to vote. The Jags are all about making sure that their fans have a say in their future. We've seen it in their art posters last year. We've seen it in their swag, and now we're getting to see it in this 30th anniversary logo. That's a commemorative moment for everybody.
And when I made Ross and Foye try to draw the 30th anniversary logo, Ross was kind of right.
No. You're being generous there.
Sorry, Ross. I tried.
You went with like a big Duval. It needed a little work. But you know what? That's okay. I couldn't have done better. Jana tried, and it wasn't great either.
The paper's gone. Evidence is gone.
The evidence has disappeared. But, you know, the 30th anniversary logo is one thing that fans are excited about, but fans are also excited about bringing back throwback jerseys this year. And we don't know what the jerseys are going to look like just yet. But the only thing we do know is that logo on your screen is going to be what's on the jersey.
I know. I'm loving seeing a lot of this kind of throwback to some of the more nostalgic clothing pieces when we were in the Pro Shop, the Miller Electric Center Pro Shop. That's exactly what their brand ambassador said. He said, this is what the fans are wanting. We're seeing a lot of that throwback. You made a comment during the break about us being 1,000 years old and you being young. So, for those of us who remember the 90s, you're seeing a little bit of that. You're seeing a little bit of the 80s and the 90s flair for you. What was that, yesterday? It was like...
Yeah, probably.
Probably. She's like, yes.
I'm like so lost. I'm like, what's going on? No, but the Jaguars logo that you see right now is exactly what Foye drew, and it was impeccable.
Nailed it.
How long did you take to draw that?
So that's why we were a little late. He did take quite some time, but you know what? You can't rush success or excellence.
That's right. You can't rush greatness.
Greatness.
Yes.
Cannot rush greatness. Greatness, got to be patient for it. And, we've got a great show, so hopefully you've been patiently hanging out with us over the course of what's going on, 2 hours now. We're closing in on wrapping up our coverage because we're inching towards when the Jaguars are going to be on the clock. We've been moving and hanging out with you since 7 o'clock. So we've gone through a lot of things, and we've been asking you questions because we want you to chime in and be a part of what is going on here in our draft coverage. And we've been asking you who you want the Jaguars to draft in the first round right now. And the results are pretty clear. Terrion Arnold.
Oh, wow. Yeah, listen. The people have spoken. And it's so interesting to see as these numbers start to shift and increase. Now, do we think that that's just groupthink? Do we think it's vote contagion? Or do we think people are really saying, hey, we're going to go with what Balky said?
I don't know. Look, right now, I think, when sometimes the people speak, they whisper. But other times they just yell at you. And seems like the people at home are yelling at us that they want Terrion Arnold. It's just so strange that our last poll said that you wanted a wide receiver. Maybe you just don't like the wide receivers that we have up for a vote. Maybe that's it.
Maybe that was it.
And for 27% for Rome is pretty good. If there is a wide receiver the Jaguars would take, it would be him next. Marvin Harrison Jr. was just drafted to the Cardinals, so he's off the board. He's really big, 6'3", 212 pounds, and elite ball skills for the Jaguars. So Calvin Ridley is gone, obviously, to the rival. I think that Rome Odunze would be, somewhat of a nice fit.
Unless everybody wanted a new neighbor. Won't you be my neighbor? Malik Neighbors is another option out there on the board, a guy that the Jaguars could trade up and move for. We'll talk a little bit about Malik Neighbors when our draft show continues. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We'll check in and see who's on the clock, the picks so far, and who's still available for the Jaguars. And right now, that neighbor is still available. We'll be right back here at Everbank Stadium where we are live right after this quick break. Here's a live look at Detroit. Look at all those fans who have been going through the draft so far. Another pick has rolled in. The Chargers maybe threw things out of whack because Mr. Neighbor, everybody's favorite neighbor, is still on the board because the Chargers decided to go with Alessandra's pick, Joe Alt.
Yeah, he's the best left tackle prospect in the draft, without a doubt. He played left tackle at Notre Dame, but he also has the ability to play on the right side. He's only given up 5 pressures in college. That is insane. He has a 91.6 pass blocking grade, so he is elite at what he can do, and he will be probably a day one starter for the Chargers.
So that sets up the Giants to be on the clock right now. We'll be keeping an eye on that. The Giants are a spot where one of the wide receivers could go off the board, maybe the second, whether it's Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors. In our full first-round mock draft, Alessandra had them picking Rome Odunze. That would have a wide receiver slide down the board, maybe a guy that the Jaguars are interested in. Let's take a look at some of those picks so far. We've kind of been keeping up with all of them throughout the process as these picks are flying off the boards, and you love to see it during the first round as picks go left and right, because some of these teams have a pretty good idea of who they want, while other teams like the Jaguars have to wait and see who's on the board. Now, Caleb Williams is already gone, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., and, of course, Joe Alt. So some of the top guys are sliding. So far, most of it went chalk.
Yeah, you're not surprised by the top 4. Maybe the Chargers, you could be a little surprised they didn't take Neighbors, but like I said, I was kind of confident because Jim said he really liked an offensive tackle. So you're kind of, that's what was projected. Now after this, it's really, who knows? Whoever gets that call is who's going to be picked. So it's a little difficult to decide for the next draft picks all the way to the end because who knows what's going to happen. So there are some really good prospects that are still on the draft board for the Jaguars.
Look at all of these fans that are packing the field at the bank. The bank is locked down tonight as everybody waits for the Jaguars to get on the clock. Plenty of fans. Everybody's kind of enjoying themselves, counting down to when the Jaguars are on the clock. And it's fantastic to see all of these Jaguars fans here to support the team, even though you know it's going to be a little bit of a late night because there's probably almost another hour before the Jaguars are ticking away and waiting to make that pick. So plenty of options for the Jaguars still on the board as the draft is marching around, but maybe a little bit of a long wait. But these fans look like they're enjoying themselves.
I was going to say, no one is standing around board here. We're continuing to see people go through. The locker room tours are available until 9:30. Eric got to show us a sneak peek of that earlier. We saw him down at the combine drills. There's mini golf. There is cornhole. I mean, there's so many different things to do. You know, but I was so interested seeing the combine setup and seeing the kids get to interact with that because the combine is such an interesting concept to me. It's not something I had to go through, obviously, in volleyball. I guess you have a little bit more of a taste of it with football.
A little bit.
But it's so interesting to see these kids at this age competing on this level when you really think about it.
I did 12 reps at 225 once upon a time. Once upon a time. That is my one thing. I will. Right now, no, I don't think I could get there. I get close, I think, maybe. We'll go with yes. But the Jaguars are going to draft a guy, hopefully, that can do more reps of 225 at the combine than this guy did. So here are some of the potential options for the Jaguars at that 17th pick if they stay put, or maybe even if they moved up to go grab one of these guys, secure one of the top players in the draft, because sometimes you got to be aggressive. You like somebody, you go out there and get them. Reach out and touch them.
Yeah, there's absolutely a possibility that the Jaguars draft up. There were some reports out there about 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago now, that the Jaguars could move up and try to get a pass catcher. Malik Neighbors was just drafted to the Giants, so really Rome Odunze is the top receiver that is still on the board. But you really want to look at about starting at pick 12 is when Trent Baalke said they really are going to start figuring out who they want to draft. You really can't decide before then because there's so many picks before then. So around pick 12, start thinking, okay, who's left on the board? Because that is what Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson is doing in the war room as they get ready to call someone and make their dreams come true.
As you mentioned, the Giants called Malik Neighbors' name, so no new neighbors coming to the Jacksonville area, but there is a new team that is on the clock, the Tennessee Titans, a team that the Jaguars know a little too well. They're dreaded rivals from up north who also added a guy whose jersey I see a few folks walking around here in Calvin Ridley over the course of the offseason. Calvin Ridley, one of the newest members of the Tennessee Titan. Who will be another Tennessee Titan is the question. A lot of people wondering if they're going to go offensive line, maybe protect Will Levis because their offensive line was, how can I say this nicely? Not good. It was bad. It was absolutely awful, and I think fans here at the bank are going to boo either way. No matter who the Titans pick, I expect boos.
I expect boos. And you know what? I would second that. Do we have a pump around prediction on that one, who we think they're going with?
So I'm looking at my 11 pages of draft notes. I can analyze any guy being called tonight, but I have the Tennessee Titans going with either Joe Alt or Malik Neighbors.
Well, both of them are off the board.
So I think they may want an offensive tackle. The next one that I really have is Fuaga.
Talisi
Fuaga from Oregon State is probably the next offensive tackle that I have that's really good. So who knows what they're going to pick. No matter what, hopefully there's some boos in here.
There's definitely a lot of different things that they could go. They could go with Fuaga, maybe Ola Fashanu from Penn State, a great left tackle. Or maybe they just throw caution to the wind. They go for a wide receiver. Maybe they take Rome Odunze and give Will Levis another weapon to throw. And just kind of keep in mind, their coach came from that Cincinnati building, and they did that. They embraced the wide receiver, went with Jamar Chase instead of giving Joe Burrow some offensive line help. So maybe he keeps that line of thinking. Maybe they draft a wide receiver and say, Will Levis will just throw it up and somebody will be down there somewhere.
Somebody will grab it. Now, what do you guys think the chances are that a phone call might be made to go up or down? Because a lot of what was talked about is, hey, when does that make sense? When is it going to really make a difference when you're sitting at the middle at 17?
Well, you know one thing. They're not calling the Titans. Because if the Titans aren't picking up the phone. So we'll at least wait one more pick to see if the Jaguars have some move up in them, right?
Yeah, there were some rumors that possibly the Broncos they could call and they could make a draft pick with them. Right now they're picking 12, so just a few from now. That's a possibility. Maybe they draft down and they try to get a little more draft picks. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think they'll either stay at 17 or maybe go up to 12 for the Broncos. But we'll have to just wait and see, guys. That's the fun thing about today.
That is the fun part of it. We'll have to wait and see. There are a lot of options. They could call another team like the Bears, who have a second pick in the first round, who could pick up some extra picks along the way. Hey, we've been asking you what you think the Jaguars should do in the first round, and you have spoken. Terrion Arnold, 55%. We'll see. Right now, Terrion Arnold's sitting on the board. So maybe the Jaguars go up and get him or sit patiently at 17 and are able to land Terrion Arnold. We'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll have that coming your way at 10 o'clock right here on Channel 4. Thanks for hanging out with us with our News4Jags draft special. We'll see you later.